Okay, so next I want to go on to strings. So string equals words. Okay, so string can tell you its length. You can use the same kind of indexing that you would in an array. So this will give you the third letter, although it actually gives you the numeric code, like the ASCII code for that letter, I guess in this case. Another cool thing you can do is index it with a regular expression. Now, a regular expression is like a pattern that it knows when it has found the pattern, and it can capture certain parts of what it matched. So if I were to say string, use the bracket, and then use the regular expression literal, and say match the part that says word, then it will give me back the part of that string that matches that pattern. If I were to say, give me the part of that string that matches a word character and has, this is a more advanced syntax, the regular expression syntax. But what I said here is, so these backslashes define a regular expression. This, or is that with a slash? And this is a backslash. It says the W means that's like a wildcard that will match a letter or a word character. And then I use the curly braces to say how many of them. So you don't need to, we don't need to understand regular expression syntax to understand this point. The point is that when you have a string and you want to access a certain part of it that matches a certain pattern, like the name of a college, for example, then, or like a .edu is another good example, then you can just grab into that without actually writing a whole lot of method calls. You can just use that indexing. Another thing that is cool about strings is called interpolation. So let's say mid equals the middle part, and then I say full equals in. Then I use this, I don't know what to call that character because the word for it is a little ambiguous right now. It's called like a hash mark. Mid and endin. So this part right here where I use this like a sharp sign on the curly braces, that says this is not a string anymore, this is Ruby code. And since the Ruby code that I put in there was the name of a variable, it took the value of that variable and put it into the string. So when you need to make kind of a string that has information in there, you can just use this interpolation instead of using like pluses and like cobbling the string together bit by bit. Now you can do that with double quoted strings, but you can't do it with single quoted strings. The main difference between single quoted strings and double quoted strings, and as a result of that, single quoted strings take a little bit less memory, they take a little bit less time, and that's basically the reason, one of the reasons why people like to use them, because they don't have as many methods. And in Ruby, each object carries around its methods with it. It doesn't just look to the class and say what methods it has, because in Ruby you're allowed to give individual objects new methods or take away methods. So each object has to carry around its methods with it, and that's why the double quoted string is kind of like a heavier object than a single quoted string, because it can do a lot more things. Okay, so that's hashes, arrays, strings. The other really big one you see in Ruby is a symbol. And it starts with a colon. Now a symbol is in some ways similar to a string because whenever you look at it, you'll be able to see what it spells, but it actually is internally much simpler and much lighter weight even than a single quoted string, and that's one of the reasons why it's used, because it's kind of like a pointer in C. It's like, well, it has a couple things in common with pointers. I don't mean to mislead there, but yeah, symbols are just basically like a name. They don't really have a lot of abilities. It's just something that you would use to name something so that you can keep track of it later. Commonly used as the key in a hash, in fact. So that's it for today. Does anyone have any questions? All right, thank you guys.